Hello, today I'm going to show you how to craft Desecrated Waystones, whether you want to run them yourself or sell them for profit. Waystone crafting in 0.3 is strong and the really good ones are super expensive to buy. That's why I believe you should always be crafting and desecrating them. In most cases it's better to make and run the waystones you actually want, but then sell the rest, usually ending up with a solid profit. The crafting process isn't too complicated, but I'll also share some extra tricks you can do with omens and walk you through the whole thing step by step. That way you'll know exactly what to do at each stage without wasting supplies or losing value on the wrong waystones. On top of that, I'll explain how to price and sell your waystones if you don't want to use them yourself, so nothing ends up rotting in your stash tab. Let's get started. Step 1. Prepare your waystones before desecrating them. They should all be tier 15. Make your waystones 3 or 4 modded. Use alchemy on white waystones. Now here's the thing that I've learned from one of my viewers' comments under my previous video. The positive desecrated mods are on prefixes and the negative mods are on suffixes. So we will only desecrate waystones with open prefix, so put aside all of the waystones that already have 3 prefixes to use them in step 3, bad waystones subsection. Now use augs and or regals on blue waystones. This will always have open prefix, so all of them will be desecrated in step 2. If you have some waystones that are already 5 modded, also check for the open prefix, and if there is no open prefix, put them aside to use them in step 3 bad waystones subsection. If you happen to have 6 modded waystones, put them aside to use them in step 3 good waystones subsection. Step 2 Desecrating. Now we will use the preserved vertebrae on all of the waystones with open prefix that we prepared earlier and reveal them in the Well of Souls. Let's discuss which mods to choose. And let's start with the mods that we want to hit for the maps without the abyss icon on the atlas. As for the positive mods, you should always pick area is overrun by the abyssal when you find it. It's extremely valuable and you should either sell it or use it. Both options result in massive profit. By the time this video was made, these maps were priced at over half of the divine. Other good prefix mods are Abysses lead to an abyssal depths, Abysses lead to an abyssal boss drops the Kula Max invitation, which is worth almost 20x, Abysses have additional pits, pretty good one to expand the abyss, and the less valuable prefix mod is area contains an additional incubator queen, additional boss in the map, nothing special I would say. For maps that are overrun by the abyssal on the atlas, which means with the abyss icon on them, here are the good mods to choose. Monsters from abysses have increased difficulty and reward for each closed pit in that abyss. I think that's one of the best ones, but the monsters are getting very hard, so if you wanna run this, be sure to have a good build. Natural rare monsters in area have 1 extra abyssal modifier, especially good for waystones with increased rare monsters. Abysses in area spawn increased monsters, probably the best one for maps affected by the Coalesced Corruption to massively increase the spawn of beyond monsters. And abyss pits and cracks have a percentage chance to spawn all monsters as at least magic, pretty good one especially when a waystone has increased magic monsters. Now some less valuable mods used for maps with the abyss icon. Abyssal monsters grant increased experience, good for leveling but not the best choice as players prefer juicing a lot more often. Abyss pits in area always have rewards, it turns all your pits into reward chests, good if you don't have any rarity on your build, but not the best mod overall. As you can see, there are 2 lists to help you better understand the value of these prefix mods, depending on whether you're running an abyss icon map or a map without it. If you're crafting only for profit, you can just treat them as if they were a single list. To summarize, you should only hunt for the area is overrun by the abyssal, which is the profitable one, and all of the other mods are quite similar in price, so choose the ones that you need. Now a few words about the suffix desecrated mods, which are the downsides, and some of them are similar to the frustrating mods from tier 17 maps from PoE 1. In general, there is no huge difference, but there are a few that you should always avoid as they make maps really hard. Players and their minions deal no damage for 3 out of every 10 seconds. Players have 3% less movement and skill speed for each time they've used a skill recently, and monsters inflict 1 Grasping Vine on hit. Grasping Vine slows you down. There is no big difference in other mods, so just pick any that you like. Some will say that the Union of Souls with map boss is hard, but you can always run it on a map without a boss. Step 3. Further crafting of good and bad waystones. Now let's discuss step 3. In step 3 we will further craft the waystones. Let's start with the bad waystones, which means the ones with the suffix desecrated modifiers. There are two options. Option A, val all of them. The ones that turned into tier 16 you can sell for around 15x. The ones that stayed tier 15 I list for 1x to sell them fast and get back some money. You can also use them for fast atlas progression if you need. The ones that turned into tier 14 I sell for 1 regal to get rid of them. Option B. You can recraft them. This method is expensive, so do it only when you need to craft really good waystones for just atlas areas. You can use exalted orbs to make them all 5 modded and use one of the 3 new omens on them, and here's why you need them to be 5 modded. The desecrated mod will always be rerolled. The important thing is that even when a waystone has 2 prefixes and 3 suffixes, it can reroll into 2 prefixes and 3 suffixes, which is exactly what we want. So you will end up with a waystone with good mods and open prefix or suffix. We want an open prefix so we can desecrate these waystones once again with the preserved vertebrae for a guaranteed positive mod. Here are the new omens. Omen of Chaotic Rarity will reroll mods so they will only grant rarity, most recommended in most cases. Omen of Chaotic Quantity will reroll mods so they will only grant monster pack. And Omen of Chaotic Monsters that will add rare and magic monsters. So if you for example use the Omen of Chaotic Rarity, hit an open prefix, then desecrate it and hit the areas overrun by the Abyssal, you will end up with the best possible waystone, with massive amount of rarity and the best possible mod. This is our holy grail. And if you hit an open suffix, then we don't desecrate the waystone as the mod would be negative. In that case, we can use it or sell it as it is, or exalt slam if you're not afraid of running 0 respawn maps. And the waystones with 3 prefixes from step 1 that I told you to put aside, you can also exalt slam them to 5 modded and use an omen to reroll these mods in hope for an open prefix, same as we did with other bad waystones. Now let's talk about the good waystones, which means the ones with the prefix desecrated mod. The first thing to do, unless if you're crafting purely for profit, is to choose the waystones that you would like to run, with the preferred desecrated mods and with no hard mods that your build cannot do. You can exalt slam these maps and or add some distilled emotions like liquid paranoia for increased rare monsters, and if you don't want to make your maps harder, you can leave them as they are. And if you want to just sell them, don't invest any other currency into them. Check the prices for specific mods. Assuming that the Divine Orb is now 150x, here are the estimated prices. By the way, all of the other estimated prices provided in this video should be adjusted if the div to x ratio changes. 150x per Divine should be a reference point for all of these prices. Area is overrun by the Abyssals, 80x+, other maps 3 to 5x, unless if they have some really high item rarity or rare monsters, then they can go for around 15x, I would say. You can also gamble and val these maps for a chance of tier 16, but I wouldn't do that on these good waystones as players prefer them uncorrupted, to further improve them with exalts and emotions. And now let's discuss the 6 modded waystones that I mentioned in step 1 and told you to put aside to use in this step. You should use one of the previously mentioned omens on it if you want. You can also sell it as it is for a few X or valid for a chance of a tier 16 map. And now let's discuss extra crafting feature Omen of Putrefication. You can also use this omen on 6 modded maps, which is something that one of my viewers showed me in the comment under my previous video. It will desecrate all 6 mods, allowing you to reveal them in the Well of Souls. Good technique to reroll a waystone with really bad mods. Just keep in mind that these desecrated mods are normal mods, so you won't have any chance of hitting anything like area is overrun with abyssals, etc. So this is not something to use for profit or a core strategy of this crafting guide. Use it as a tool only when you need it. Alright, let's wrap it up. Desecrated Waystones in 0.3 are insanely strong, and crafting them yourself is almost always worth it compared to buying. The key takeaways are: always check for open prefixes before desecrating. That's where the good mods live. Aim for the area is overrun by Abyssals mod. That's your jackpot. Don't sleep on omens. They can completely flip a bad waystone into something amazing. And sell what you don't need, run what fits your build, and nothing ends up rotting in your stash. At the end of the day, whether you're chasing profit, juicing your atlas, or just experimenting with builds, Waystone Crafting is one of the most reliable ways to squeeze value out of your maps right now. So yeah, craft them, desecrate them, and make that profit. Alright, quick shout out to my last video. That's where I broke down the desecrated mods on Waystones. I went over which ones are actually worth using, how to run them efficiently, and why each of them works a bit differently depending on your setup. Like how much rarity you've got on your character, how juiced your map is with towers, and what other Waystones mods or bonuses are rolled. I also showed how to get the most out of Abyss icon maps on the Atlas, and even the ones without it. So whether you're big juicy farming or just want fast Atlas progression on a budget, there's something in there for you. If you want to really understand how these mods work, I definitely recommend checking that video out, links down in the pinned comment. Thanks for watching, and if you found this helpful, drop a like, leave a comment if you've got your own crafting tricks, and I'll see you in the next one.